I've been working on my factory game for 3 months now, and the more I work on it, the more errors pop up. I promised I would have the game ready by September of this year, and I can't afford any delays. Some problems I can leave for later, but I must fix my most terrible mistakes now. The ones that if I don't fix, literally will make the game unplayable. Starting with the basic one. Something as fundamental as selecting machines in the game is pretty annoying because you need to click on their colliders, which are basically just invisible boxes that I put on the machines, which allow me to know when you have clicked on them and do something when that happens. The problem with this is that to make the machines and conveyor belts connect seamlessly, I'm using extra pieces that don't have colliders. And since everything blends together, it's really easy for you to click a part that doesn't have colliders while trying to select something. If players can't even interact with what they are trying to interact with, they will quit. And that's not a small problem, it's a game-breaking one. You might think this could be solved by slapping some colliders into those pieces, and you would be right, but it would be very inefficient to have all of these extra colliders for each machine and conveyor belt when there could be hundreds of them at the same time. Instead, I'm changing the way you select stuff by changing the arrow that appears when you select machines to this transparent box that shows you the whole area you are selecting. And why do I know that's the area? Because the game works with an invisible grid, and the machines you place snap to it. Each square in that grid has a size of 1 meter, so I made the transparent box have the same size. But that alone just makes it easier to see the area when you already selected it. To solve the whole problem, I'm changing what happens when you click. Now, to avoid using colliders, I'm shooting an invisible line from the camera to your cursor. Then I check where the line hits on the ground, and based on that, I calculate what square on the grid that is. If there is a machine in the square, I select it. And to make clear which square on the grid you're hovering over before you select anything, I put a transparent box over it that makes it stand out. Besides looking better than the arrows I had before, this method lets you know exactly what you will select, removing the annoying part of selecting stuff, so now I don't risk players getting frustrated with this part of the game. But I can't slow down because there are still 2 more problems that I need to fix for the game to be playable. The next one literally had me memorizing letters for some months. Because I don't know if you can tell, but there's nowhere in the game where you can see the controls. And if even I forget what keys to press when trying to pick a machine to place or delete it, imagine how confusing it will be for a new player. I started by making a menu that gets activated automatically once you enter the machine building mode. It holds all the images of the machines and the number you need to press to select them. And also, to make your currently selected machine stand out, it will be bigger than the rest. The rest of the controls are for the modes in the game, which if you haven't seen the previous videos, are build mode, where you can place machines, the move mode, where you move the already placed machines, operator mode, that lets you see what is inside the machine and info about it, and the last one, the delete mode, that as its name suggests, allows you to delete them. I had the icons of these modes show up on the top of the screen when they were active, but you still had to memorize the keys to enable them. To tackle this problem, I just moved the mode display from the top to a side to have a better layout, because I also put all the mode's icons next to it with the corresponding key that enables the mode. So now you can always see all the modes, which key enables them, and which mode is active, since it will get highlighted when it is. Finally, no more memorization. Just adding that simple user interface is enough to show the game's controls. The design of these elements is most likely going to change as I develop the game, but it's functional and there is one less problem slowing down the development. The next and final problem is the one that has more impact in the game. Because if I don't solve it, you won't be able to make progress. You see, to progress in the game, you need to get closer and closer to make a full human by creating and assembling its pieces. You start from a generic cell that you transform into different types of cells using the different processing machines in the game. To build more complicated stuff, you will need to combine them using an assembler machine that transforms it into a different material. There's something like a recipe inside it that tells it what it's going to build and the ingredients it needs. For example, to build a small bone, the ingredients are 4 bone cells. By the way, there are 2 assembler machines in the game. They work the same, but accept different recipes. But that's already working since the last video. The problem is there's no way to change the recipe inside the machine to build something else. And without that, the entire point of the game completely breaks. You are stuck making the same basic materials over and over again without ever being able to make a full human. For you to assign the recipe, you will need to go into operator mode. There you will need to click the image of what is being built. Currently it doesn't do anything, so I made a menu that will get opened or closed when you do. Now to show the recipes, I built something that looks like a card where there is space for the image of the material to be made and the ingredients that make it with its quantities. Then I made the menu get filled with those cards. Each one will hold the information of a different material you can build in that assembler machine. And the last step towards making it fully functional was making that when you click one of those cards, the recipe will get assigned to that machine. I should have made that way sooner. It was a huge pain to test if the machines were working before having that, because I had to manually change the recipes inside the program that I'm using to make the game. And even more important than that, players can finally assign recipes to the machines and make progress in the game. If I didn't fix these terrible problems now, player would get stuck, confused, or frustrated and just quit. But now everything that's already in the game is fully working and more intuitive. If you don't want to miss next updates for the game, make sure to subscribe and activate the notifications so you're one of the first to see next videos. Thank you for watching, bye bye.